Hey, everybody, welcome back. Andrea, good to see you again.
Good to see you, Charity.
I know in Oklahoma, I'm counting down. There's 101 hours until the polls close next Tuesday.
Yep.
And I'm counting them. This is the last weeks, man. In Oklahoma, these have been brutal. The lies are impressive. AI has added a layer of insanity to the campaigns that is not fun. And so there's that. I just want to throw out once again. Did you guys watch The Terminator? Why are you embracing this? I don't understand. Is anybody paying attention? Like, there is no version of reality where this ends well for mankind. But we'll move on.
Agreed.
So you guys, did you just have yours? Is that what you were saying?
Yes. So we've been watching the votes here in Nevada, and it's interesting because there's some great election. I would call them like my Freedom Brigades people.
Yes.
that there, most of them are in Clark County because Clark County is a lot like Maricopa County. It is like, my state is very rural. A lot of people don't realize, they think of Nevada as it's just Las Vegas. It's not. It's mostly ranchers. Are very, we have very small populations in most of our counties. We only have 17 counties. So for being a very large state, very mountainous, beautiful state, we are ranchers, and we are a lot more red than they want anyone to believe, but Las Vegas runs the show. And the steel seems like it's alive and well, just like it is in Los Angeles and California. And again, I always say we're like California's redheaded, stepsister kind of thing. Like, we do everything. We just do everything like California. Our taxes.
Why would you do that? They're like leading in homelessness. They're like insane over there. Why would you follow Gavin Newsom off a cliff? I don't understand.
It's awful because people have bumper stickers in my state that say "Don't California my Nevada," because they're so sick of people coming in from California and mucking it up. It's like, you left that state because you were sick of the politics, but then you bring the politics with you. You know what I mean?
I sell those shirts at the GOP, not California, my Oklahoma. So the rest
I'm
of
right
the
next door.
country,
It's bad.
the people are saying, do not California my state. And then we've got the idiot legislators that are being like, oh, that's the model. Let's do what they're doing. Wow.
Yeah, it's really, really, really bad. So I have some great grassroots warriors that have been tracking the numbers. And interesting is the numbers, even after the early voting ends, or even after they say they stopped counting the mail-in ballots, every day you can go in there and see that they're still changing. How is that possible?
That's
even if it's only by like 5 votes. I always say, if 1 vote is stolen, that's enough. There's a problem.
Exactly.
So in my state, they constantly say, I scream about the steal, and they go, well, it's not a big enough steal. That's what the courts tell us when we take legislation or lawsuits to court. They literally say, well, it doesn't matter because that wasn't a big enough cheat to steal. But in these local races, that might be for your governor or your senators and things like that. But in your local races, sometimes these local races are only a couple dozen votes difference.
Right.
And those are big. That's a big deal. I want to know, how would, after something closes, how would the numbers continue to fluctuate the way they do? And unnaturally, like in California, someone who was getting 2% of the vote all of a sudden gets 40% of the vote in the final hours. Are you kidding me?
Let's just go on record that California is not the model for anybody. That should never be the example in any realm of anything ever. They've taken one of the most beautiful places in the country and managed to trash it completely out. It's really impressive. California should lead nothing, and we need to. Some adult needs to go clean that mess up, please.
Well, and again, people who live in other parts of the country and don't know California. Like I grew up in the San Joaquin Valley near Fresno, California. I call it Nunes country. California, like my state, is much more red than they want you to believe. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, Northern California has said they just want to secede from Southern California all the way to get. I mean, there's a lot of people in California, and we have brigades in California that are amazing people. But the liberals are so loud, and they have stolen so many places. It's disgusting. And
you get the apathetic nature of it. I have people reaching out to me constantly during these election times, and people who aren't paying attention to primaries. I mean, they control so much. You have to pay attention to the small races. And I have people reaching out to me this last week, and I did a whole video on it because I had like literally hundreds of people going, Andrea, I don't even want to vote. I don't even want to vote. And I get that from my ranchers in Nevada all the time because I love my rural ranchers. And they go, Andrea, my vote does not matter. And what do I say? I say, listen, our founding fathers built a republic. If we don't at least engage and we don't vote, then we're like, it's anti-American. You've got to still engage. But I get what they're saying. It's hard to not understand what they're saying. They're saying my vote doesn't matter, because does it? So far, it seems like it doesn't. It seems like our votes are just dumped,
especially when they're doing things like what you're saying. And we've got to get back to, like I said, same day ballots, right? Like, so right now there's early voting in Oklahoma, and you guys don't vote early unless you have no choice.
Exactly.
Same day voting, paper ballots. We can do this. They've done this for hundreds of years. We can do this.
Yeah.
Same day voting, paper ballots. I know that some Republicans disagree with me on that, and they say I stay strong with that. We've got.
I stay strong with that too. Yeah, it's super important. I mean, if you look at how the steal happens, you can understand clearly why early voting has a lot of issues to it. You're teeing them up. You're helping them out. And then the mail-in ballots. Mail-in ballots are for people in the military, people who really can't physically go. I get that.
Missionaries.
But in my state, every single person gets like 6 mail-in ballots. Even if I had one gal reach out to me, she goes, my son hasn't lived in my home for over 6 years. He now lives in California and votes there. And I still get a mail-in ballot for him every single time, even though they've asked to stop. They've said he does not live here anymore. He's still getting it. And so ballot harvesting is legal, right? So you can get all these ballots harvested, sign the signature, and then when you go to vote, they never ask for an ID. They don't. You don't need an ID to vote.
That should be criminal right there. That should be criminal.
Yeah.
Clean it up, Andrea. That's where you're at.
I'm
trying. Well, speaking of cleaning it up, you need people like you. And we've had Mandy Reed on the show before. Mandy Reed is a phenomenal warrior, and she's always trying to clean it up. We were talking before the show about, maybe we just, start over. Let's just scrap all this and start over. She's been called to fight the DHS program, which when you are getting your criminal justice degree and they're telling you about the DHS program, the textbooks say, oh yeah, this system is broken. So nobody is under the impression that this is working. The way we're doing it is not working. There does need to be something in place, but what we're doing now is not working. So let's welcome Mandy Reed back to the show. Hey, Mandy, good to have you.
Thank you guys for having me.
What have you been up to lately? Last time I talked to you, the brigades were like getting together. She's like, I need people to sign this citizens petition in Payne County. We got to deal with this judge. And so I sent as many people as I could your way. Did you get the signatures? What's going on? What happened?
So, according to several attorneys and the Oklahoma Council of Public Affairs, we got the signatures.
Awesome.
There's an argument about how it's read. Allegedly, there's an unpublished opinion out there that you're not supposed to be able to use because it's unpublished, about how the ratio of the votes is counted, blah, blah, blah. According to our attorneys and Oklahoma Council of Public Affairs, we're good. We're actually 1,600 over. So now it's in the hands of Judge Ogden in Oklahoma County to see if he reads the law the way we read the law. But, I guess we'll see what happens. If it doesn't happen, then I know we're already in works of talking to attorneys outside the state of Oklahoma who are willing to step in and say, hey, you guys are reading things wrong. You're reading the Constitution wrong. And now we're going to hear and we're going to, make these families whole again because of what has been allowed. And I know, or maybe you don't know, I'm not sure, but, one of the big arguments is when somebody steps forward with a grand jury petition, we are allowed to, that's how we air our grievances. And that's according to the Constitution. Well, Judge Mai out of Oklahoma County, and other judges have allowed other people to come in and file into it and say, hey, I was named in this, so therefore I want to quash it. Like Charles McCall, for instance. He he stepped in and said, hey, I want to quash this. And my whole argument has been, we're only asking for an investigation. If you're clean, we'll set you free, you know? And so if you're not clean, then I guess you have something to answer for. But, you know, we're not just looking to wait on Judge Ogden. We've already taken extra steps outside of that. And so, and I'm not a parent of Payne County, but, you know, I want to help these kids and their justice in the system, because what's going on is not okay.
So what happened in Payne County that you wanted to petition? Tell our viewers what you're doing with that.
So Payne County is just one of the counties. It was kind of like Pottawatomie County. So I don't know if you know, but Pottawatomie County, we did a grand jury over there, and I started over there, and we got the district attorney removed. Okay. And he took a step down. The next district attorney passed away suddenly. Then we had Adam Painter take a step up. 12 days after the voted in district attorney passed away, he changed from Democrat to Republican. Okay. And then he was appointed by our Republican governor. And so it's like Pottawatomie County 2.0 in Payne. So in Payne, there was like 5 cases I was looking at that involved children that had been raped, sodomized, molested, all the things. And I start watching these cases, and, you know, they're under this district attorney. And rapists, and if you're paying attention to what's going on in the state, if there's any kind of sexual abuse allegation, sexual assault or whatever, it is a smack on the hand. Like, you barely get punished. But now if you abuse a dog or an animal, oh, we're going to put you away for life. And so at some point in our moral compasses became so broken that we think less of children and humans than we do of animals.
Is it possible that this started when the lie started that a fetus is not a human being? I mean, is it possible that mindset started back when we were like, you know, we're going to protect eagles' eggs, but not babies in the womb? Just
Yeah. I think that we've become so far from reality that, you know, and that was one of my arguments is if this was your daughter and granddaughter, would you think differently? Because, you know, 1 in 3 girls are molested or sexually assaulted, and 1 in 5 boys. And that's a national statistic. Oh, and so if we're just looking away at all of this, these kids can never be made whole to go on to be successful adults, and they're broken and they live their lives broken. And so I got lucky, really lucky, because I raised 3 children, and I got really lucky that my children did not become one of those statistics. And we had those conversations. I had those conversations. My daughter I got one of her friend's house, and the dad pulled her down in his lap at 13 years old. And she was like, no. And she never went back. But, you know, anyway, in Payne County, we're looking at these cases. I'm looking at all these rape cases, and I'm watching how they play out. Well, some of them, there was a particular case that played out, and it was during bad weather. An attorney comes up from Ada and goes in the back door. The courthouse is closed, strikes a deal with Judge Reese, allegedly. I'm going to say allegedly to keep us all in a safe place, but I can tell you the people that have came forward in Payne County are paralegals of attorneys that are doing illegal stuff, courthouse officials that are doing illegal stuff. They feed us info. I mean, all walks of life. All of these people are coming forward saying, we don't like our community. We don't like what's going on, and we want to help. And so we want to slide you this information. We want to meet with somebody. We want to tell somebody something. And they're starting to rise up, but they're scared. They don't want to do it out in the public. They'll say, can you meet us in another town? And so that's really sad. But anyway, this one particular guy met with Judge Reese. The courthouse was supposed to be closed. Allegedly, the attorney met with Judge Reese, and his rape charges went from felony to misdemeanor and changed to a different docket. that is the kind of stuff that we're looking at in Payne County. That's not okay. When you turn a rapist, a felony rapist, into a criminal misdemeanor thing, and you do away with his criminal behavior, that's not okay. And so when we're watching all that, Laura Thomas is seeing that. She's making side deals to whatever. And then you've got people underneath her. And what's really interesting is, so she stepped down, she decided to take medical leave to finish out. If this grand jury and she doesn't become indicted, she gets her full pension come the fall. The only way we can prevent her bad acts is to get this grand jury, get her indicted for the crimes that she's committed against families and children. And then she doesn't get full pension. Now, the other interesting thing is that in Logan County, which has stepped up to do some of these cases, they've done a recall for Karen Dixon. Karen Dixon retired a long time ago, and she's 80 years old. But Karen Dixon doesn't lose her retirement when she does what everybody asked her to do and let this slide under the rug. Which, Charity, we've talked about this multiple times, and I say it all the time. We're always worried about our governor races, our legislative races, blah, blah. Right. But at the local level is what is destroying your families, your district attorneys, your judges, all these at the local level. Instead of being worried about what's going to filter down from the top, we need to be at the bottom working our way up, because that's where the change needs to be happening.
Amen. Say it again louder. I love that. I mean, and your work, I can say this personally from what I know what you guys do. When you say this stuff, you've got hard evidence, and you've hinted at some of the evidence. Like you say, we got to say allegedly, but I'm going to tell you right now, I know the kind of evidence you have, because I've been sent into tears from the stories you've told me. And I know you wouldn't say these things if you didn't have it. I say all the time, why are there not more cameras? And I would never want my child on a one-on-one conversation with anyone in the school district or anyone anywhere one-on-one. They should never be alone. There should never not be a third person or a camera in the room. We do that on a corporate level. It's called HR. Never a he said, she said moment. But we allow our children to be put in these he said, she said moments, and we don't protect them. And then even though saying that, I know a lot of the stuff you guys have strong documents that prove these things have been happening. You've seen the videos, and we still can't get justice for these poor victims.
No. I saw, I was in a courtroom this last week in Grady County, and it's Judge Kirkland, and he likes to gloat that he was a district attorney, and he did all these things for children as a district attorney and protected them. And he watched the forensic interview of a little girl who had been in possession of her family for more than a week, her abusers for more than a week. And DHS ordered an investigation. And in the thing, she tells them what she was wearing when she sexually perpetrated. She was 3.5. What she was, what happened, who it was, identified them, identified what she was wearing, what color of crayon they shoved inside her. And she also said that she crawls underneath the table to prevent abuse. And she prays to God, please, God, send somebody to save me. And he has the audacity to sit in that courtroom and say, I think she's thriving. From what? Do you think sexual abuse has a child to thrive? I was so grossed out by some of the things that he says. And it's not that he doesn't see it. It's that he is protecting the system because of the things that have gone on in the case. And so he's like, I have to keep a lid on it. I have to keep a lid on it. And so he just keeps circling his wagon, knowing damn good and well the kid is in a bad place. She's in a bad way. She's sexually perpetrated on by both parties. And going through that person's case, that person had an affidavit from the CPS worker, and we're looking at the affidavit, and I said, put all the evidence together and show me what this looks like. So the worker said, on this day, this happened. On this day, this happened. On this day, OU Children's said that the mother was mentally abusing her kid. So I said, get the OU Children's records. On that day, she had never been to OU. So you've got, so now that affidavit and criminal complaint has gone to the sheriff's department. They said they can't get a hold of Chloe Walker, which is the DHS worker, and I'm going to name drop her because the police report and everything shows it. She will no longer respond. But what they don't tell you is this dad has two sisters that work for Oklahoma DHS.
Wow.
And
Why would they
so
be so sloppy as to pick a day that she wasn't even there?
because you're not allowed to see that, Charity. In Oklahoma, you're not allowed those records. DHS slams the door on it, and anything written in their investigative report or anything written in their records, you're never allowed to see.
How is that justice? I don't understand how that is justice at all. So not even your own children are you allowed to see this.
Nope.
Wow. I just don't understand. What is the reasoning for that? I mean, how do they give to justify that at all?
They say they're holding the children's safety over their privacy over their safety. And they say their privacy is more important.
The privacy of the child or the perp, right? Like,
exactly.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
keep going. Sorry. I always get so mad when I talk to you. Okay.
And so now that the district or just it's Jason Hicks as a district attorney, he could fully take it and he could prosecute. But and this worker is so blatant with her lies. This is what's crazy. The worker is out of Caddo County. Caddo County is over on the west side of the state. So she also filled out two affidavits with various lies. One's Caddo County and one's Delaware County. Delaware County is up by Miami.
Yeah.
So we have
Grove. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have the sheriff's department on both. We filled out two criminal complaints. Mom did. And so I hope she gets prosecuted in both counties. But Grady County has already sent it to the attorney general. Well, the attorney general is so busy with his campaign that I'm sure we're not getting any justice there. But, I mean, that's the thing. Jason Hicks could take it, but Jason Hicks is not going to touch it because it opens up a can of worms, and it goes right back to what I'm saying about local level, district attorney, judges.
Has this been turned over to the AG's office? Because don't they have investigators that look into it besides the AG himself?
Yeah, it's been turned over, and he says the deputy said he hasn't heard anything.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
But that's the kind of things we're looking at, and we talk about all the time the assassination of the nuclear family.
Yes.
And this is a perfect example of that, because when mom raises her voice and says, my daughter has labial blisters and from the perpetration, and they say, oh no, it's not what it's from. That's normal. That's not normal. My daughter never had that. Anyways, they have now shuffled her off. And, dad is a corrections officer at DOC at Lexington. So when he goes in to have these meetings, he's wearing his badge and his nameplate so that he can, show the clout of, hey, I'm a DOC worker, which means absolutely nothing to me. And my sisters work for DHS, I'm the family with the clout. And it doesn't matter because you're not protecting children. And so, that was why whenever I saw the stuff going on in Payne County, I mean, there's stuff that we're watching that is grotesque. Judge Reese, Judge Reese ran for House District 83 in 2017. And then he became, he had an extramarital affair, allegedly, with a lobbyist that was married. And now he's sitting in another county. He's in a Payne County judge. And allegedly his divorce is not final, but his mistress is pregnant. And so here we are. It's such an incestuous system our moral compasses are all broken.
Yeah.
And you've got a judge that was gifted this position by our governor, and he had never been a judge before, but he ran for House district and failed, and then had an affair with a lobbyist, and then was kind of stuck. And then, now we've got a baby on the way with the mistress. And so governor, it's like, here, let me gift you a position. So he gifts him this position in Payne County, which then it snowballs because Payne County blows up over Jesse Butler and him getting a slap on the wrist for raping all these girls. And so it looks like Governor Stitt was like, hey, I'm about to have a whole mess of raped young victims at OSU. I'm going to need a good judge there to keep it on the down low. So how about I give you this cush position and you help all these boys out? Because there's some more boys that are going to come out. And I've already seen all the screenshots of Governor Stitt with their families and these young boys. And when these cases come forward and these other girls come forward, 2 have came forward. They press charges on them. Debbie Vincent at Payne County, she's an assistant district attorney, said the other girls came forward and they said, we're not going to prosecute for you. We're not going to add your name to it. We're just going to try to add another charge or 2. No, that's gross. And that is what we're looking at. One of the things that I can sit and say is I have 2 boys myself, and I had this conversation with them, and I said, don't do anything that you wouldn't want somebody doing something to your sister. And I told them, if you ever mess up outside the law, don't call me, because I did the best I could to raise you the way you should be raised. And if you need to come to a point in your life when you need an attorney, please don't call me, because at that point I will step out of the way and I will let the justice system so that hopes that your life then becomes better. And I think we have such a problem with entitled people that think that they have all this money and they have all these connections, and they're raising criminals that are not going to listen or obey law. And they're like, oh, well, my dad is an OSU athletic director, so I'm not going to get prosecuted and I can rape these 5 girls and it's okay. It's not okay. I don't care who you are. I'm glad it wasn't my daughter, because I'm not as lenient as some of these other people, and it's gross.
Well, I think that's the hardest thing when I started doing work, and that's where I met Charity, working with attorneys who are like civil rights, constitutional attorneys fighting corruption. I think one of the hardest things is, Tom says all the time, some people think it's race. The system's broken with race. No, it's money. The judicial system is money. If you're rich and you can afford it, you'll probably get a slap on the wrist. If you're poor, you're in trouble. And that's exactly, our judicial system is broken in so many levels, like you just described, but that's something he says all the time.
Yeah, I think it's sad, but it also funnels money other directions. You know what I mean? Because at that point, you've got a judge doing favors, and the next thing you know, they have a nice little house in Eufaula on the lake, and they have oil field, whatever, oil royalties.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's all about the kickback, and it's all about what we can do for each other. And we have just got to come to a place where we're like, we're going to protect kids at all costs. And if you screw up and cross the line with the child, then you got to pay the price.
Yes. And when you said houses in, I think it was Nashville area, we were breaking news on some child trafficking rings there. And we found out that these officials, like you're saying, were getting paid off with corrupt money that was being put into like mortgage loans. Because we always go, okay, how do you pay someone off like $200,000? And we tracked the money. Like when you say house, that's exactly it. They're buying each other houses. Yeah.
There's a certain legislator in Oklahoma that I was watching, and he and another party kept changing the deed to a house for $105,000. They're not even smart. $105,000 one month, he sells it. The next month he buys it back for $105,000. The next month he sells it again for $105,000. What does that sound like to you?
Wow.
Wow. And so we're doing a title change every 30, 45 days for the exact same amount. I mean, at least get smart and change the amount.
Well, and again, I say all the time, I'm out here in Nevada. We're like number 2 as far as human trafficking. I believe it's because of the casinos. I believe it's because of where we're located. We've got underground tunnels too, underneath the strip, all this kind of stuff. I know why my state is icky. But what I always say all the time on the show is if it's happening in Oklahoma, then it's happening everywhere. If it's happening in Nashville, it's happening everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not a good thing. Like, this is not good. And I'm also watching Adult Protective Services. So when they find somebody have you guys seen that movie, I Care a Lot?
No.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I swear they watched the movie and they were like, let's do this. So they find adults that have bank accounts, houses, and such, and then they take them into Adult Protective Services, and then they liquidate everything and funnel it through the system while they put the person in nursing home.
Yeah. We had some friends, we've had them on the show before, that were driving down to Texas to help someone that's been kidnapped by the system. They're doing exactly that. It's very,
and who was the financial guy we talked to last time? Was it Lombardi?
Joseph Lombardi with Ironhawk Financial. Guys, if you need to go check that out, go to Ironhawk Financial, and he shows us how to manage our money in a way that is smart, right? Where to put your money. You don't have to spend more money. It's about how to manage what you've got and not have to use the same techniques that the elites use, that the average.
But he talks about just that. He talks about how it happened to his grandmother. They took millions of dollars from her, just threw her in, in the system, basically. And so that is something that is huge. And again, we can track the money easily, but people don't want to look at this. I mean, again, when you say these stories, I get very emotional, and yes, it's icky. I remember when I was young, my mom was talking about human trafficking with me because she wanted me to be aware. And when I started having kids, she said, no sleepovers. What you said with your kids, there's certain levels of protection. My kids know, I said, unless you want mom to go to jail real quick, you behave a certain way when you're communicating. We don't talk to strangers online, all that kind of stuff. And I homeschool my babies. So it's way different when you homeschool. I can't even imagine letting my kids, again, in rooms with strangers I don't even know, one-on-one. Like, no. And often it's someone they do know. Often it is a family member or a close friend of a family member. It's like, you cannot trust anybody. And you need to understand how, like when you said 1 in 5 and 1 in 3, y'all, if you've got 3 kids like Mandy does, Charity has, I don't know, like 12. No, I'm just kidding. Charity's got like his, I only have 2.
3 of them are grown. Okay.
I only have 2. But again, that statistic is not okay in our society. That's disgusting.
And the other thing is like, athletics is very popular. And when you take your kid to drop them off with a coach, like, you should stay. Like, why are we dropping off our kids and leaving? Like, don't do that, because you've got somebody that, my kids go to a small town and there's 400 kids in the whole school. And which will bring me to the next thing that I need to talk about really quick is DHS in the school systems. And a friend of mine was at a prosecutor's meeting not long ago, and Charity, they're going to put DHS in district attorney's offices. You know why? That's an easy target, because mom comes in there beat up, or dad comes in there for help for mom, a DUI or whatever. And now they have targeted children that they can say, oh, these kids need our help.
I got to say, if they were, I would think that's a great thing. It's actually, that's how you're going to find the families that do need the help. Unfortunately, it's a corrupt system and predators. We need DHS to be overhauled, because if it was a system we could trust, that would be a fabulous way to do it. Because there are families, right, that need help. There are families where kids are being abused and they need rescued.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
many of what I hear are DHS takes kids and puts them into these foster homes where they meet that abuse. And so the system needs overhauled. It's really scary that they seem to not be working with the parents or have the best interest at heart in many of the cases that I've seen.
Well, the thing that I see the most of is we've got law enforcement and DHS, and they're supposed to work jointly parallel to
Right.
investigate crimes. So if a call comes into a hotline and it's neglect, abuse, whatever, that is a crime. Those are crimes.
Correct. That's
And
correct.
yet, so they're sending DHS out. These DHS workers are not capable of
That's
doing an
true.
investigation. What they are is social workers, accountants, let's see, evangelistic ministers. I've talked to them. I know what their degrees are in. Their degrees are not in forensic. They're not in investigation.
This would not be
They
the first on the scene. Are they sending them in first on the scene
Yes,
to investigate?
yes,
Wow.
yes.
Wow.
Law enforcement is punting every call to DHS, send them in, they do their investigation, and then they hand their report to the police and they say, oh, yeah, it didn't look like a crime to me. And they toss it out. Listen, a call to the center is neglect, abuse, whatever. Those are crimes. And we are punting crimes against children to DHS workers that are overworked, underpaid, undereducated, underskilled, retaliatory, angry at the world for the things that are going on. And we're allowing them then to hand a thing over to a law enforcement officer, and the officer goes, yeah, this didn't look like a crime to me. No, because you have chosen to not go out and do your due diligence and investigate the crime. So we've got to take investigations of crimes away from CPS workers, DHS workers, and hand them back to law enforcement and say, this is what you're getting paid for, and this is what we want you to do.
Yeah.
And which is another thing I want. I want body cams on CPS workers, because just like the CPS worker that wrote this in this affidavit, Chloe Walker on 4/4, mom was this over here doing this. That's not true. Now you have put your name on an affidavit. You swore under oath what you did was true, and it was all a lie, and you should be prosecuted. And DHS should be held accountable, and they should be sued to the end of the earth and pay this mother and this family, because this child now has 2 more years of sexual assault on top of the 3 years she already had.
There's not a word for it. Mandy, I so appreciate the work that you do and the people that are called into that sphere, because it is so desperately needed. We're always happy to help anytime, just like you said, hey, we need people in Payne County. I put it out everywhere I could. Guys, if you're in Payne County, we need you to go sign. Here's where they're at. But this is how we're going to take it back, is by citizens doing more than talking about it, but fighting back like Mandy's doing. We have another person I want to introduce you to. Stephanie Hope is with us, and she is putting together a summit. The Pennsylvania Brigades reached out to me and introduced me to her. She is giving a voice to people that are seeing, there's a lot of our people that are like, we don't know what to do. We see all these issues. We hear Mandy, we hear Andrea talk about what's going on with the elections, and the enemy is coming in like a flood, and we're just powerless. Like, we know to pray, right? Because we lift up a standard against when the enemy comes in like a flood. But then faith without works is dead. We have to pray and we have to act, and a lot of people don't know what to do. And so Stephanie put together this Engaged Citizen Summit, and she got some of the grassroots leaders across the country to just give you, here's what you can do. Here's how you can help. Here's different people doing different things, and she put them all in one room, and it's a beautiful thing. Welcome, Stephanie, to the show. Hey, Stephanie, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
What made you decide to put this summit together?
I would say political involvement really started around COVID. I was living in Denver at the time. The lockdowns were happening. But I think that it was a critical point for many, not just to wake up to the world around them, but in their own families and in their own lives. And I survived domestic violence actually out of COVID as well. And out of that, really became obsessed with understanding how power works. And I grew up, I was homeschooled my whole life. I grew up with the idea of the Constitution and citizens' power, and again, just seeing the abuse being carried out by the local governments, I was like, okay, absolutely not. So I've really dedicated my focus and time and attention here and thought, what better way to celebrate the 250th anniversary of our country, but to remind citizens, particularly Christians that want to get engaged and might be fearful for whatever reason, but give them all of the ways it could be possible to do that. Because I think we think, oh, politics, I have to run for office, I have to, door knock or make campaign calls. And it's not that. There's so many more details that need to be paid attention to, so much knowledge to be shared. And even all the stories that were shared today, it's like, well, yes, we do need to overhaul pretty much every government body and bureaucracy, but who's going to be the one to step up and take their place, right? If we're not paying attention and have the knowledge to at least hold people accountable to those standards that they should be serving us because we employ them, then how can we be the change that we want to see for this generation and for the next?
That's really well said. I'm excited about your summit. So tell me, how can people go see what you've got and what the summit, where can they sign up for this summit? This is a virtual summit, so you're not asking people to spend gas money with these prices or to travel to you. This is all virtual, correct? So this is going to be easy to watch.
Yes, and it is a week long. We have a pop-up private Facebook community, so only people that have signed up to attend the summit will be in that group. So we'll have our speakers in that group as well, special live VIP. You can go to thehopefactor.com and you'll find where you can register just right on that homepage. I also have a couple other links, so I'm happy to go back through after it's recorded and drop that on the videos as well for people to sign up. And every day of the 7 days, there's going to be a few videos that will be available to watch live for 24 hours. And then that way we can all stay on the same pace and on the same conversations. And then they'll really well coordinate with the live events that we'll also have. So if you're able to make it live, we'll have a fantastic Q&A with two speakers, one of whom is a specialist in the federal land grab and also a CPA and forensic accountant. So one of the things that he offers through his platform is a municipal accounting review. So he wants to hear from people that would like to do a forensic audit, essentially, of their school board, right? Their school board finances. He'll help you walk through all the FOIA requests. He'll, run all the numbers and give you a report at the end of the day. Not live on that call, but, working together in the future. And, that's just one example of the great resources that we'll have as part of this summit, and a great reason to not only participate, but invite your friends as well.
And I just put the link on our Rumble. We're the Freedom Brigade Nation podcast on Rumble. And I just put the link on Tom. So we go live to Tom Renz's, he's at Renz Tom on X. I put the link there, and we'll put it in the description later. But I want people to know, I think sometimes people are like, what are the Freedom Brigades? Why am I seeing this on Tom's channel? What the heck's going on? So we go live to those platforms, so you guys can grab the link there.
Yeah, Tom is a part of the Freedom Brigades. He partnered with us in a big way. And so that's why people have to put up with me on Tom's channel.
But you can go to freedombrigades.com, and every one of our partners and our friends and our affiliates and our sponsors and everyone who works with us is easily found, mostly freedombrigades.com/shop. But we want everyone to sign up for this. I think this sounds freaking phenomenal. And maybe we can even bring you on Tom's show to talk about it, because this is important stuff.
Yes.
Thank you.
This is Tom's, this is his vision, right? We needed to get people activated. And so when we started doing the Freedom Brigades, actually I worked really closely with Andrea, somewhat with Tom, because he would be one of the attorneys that we worked with at AFLDS together. And so when we did that, that's always been the point. When I came to them and like, hey, we're doing the brigades, they were like, this is what the country needs to be doing. And the tools for that, it sounds like, we have a lot of stuff a lot of ways that we will help you when the brigades say, hey, we need help. Well, we can get a hold of the big names that are leading in that category, and we can get help. But it's going to be helpful for you to know how to do the FOIA request. How do you look up the legislation? We do have some videos and stuff on that. But I think what you're doing, Stephanie, is vital. the people are taking back their government. And in order to do this, we're going to have, these are the tools we need to do it. This happened, guys, and I know I say it a lot. This is 500% because the church fell asleep, got complacent, and got into pride. And so the government picked up areas they had no business picking up. I used to get mad but government budget class in college, I was like, my 5-year-old can manage finances better than the government. They are so corrupt. It is so gross. And it's up to we the people to take it back.
And that's what stuff
we've been asleep.
Yeah,
and now we're starting to act. We're waking up. The remnant is waking up, and the people are waking up and saying, we've had enough. We want America to look like America again. And we're this close to losing it, but we haven't lost it yet. We can turn it around.
But
go ahead, Mandy.
If I may, I think we as strong women and our partners that we have really got to work with our children and the younger generation, because they have became such phone zombies, and they believe anything that comes across their phone, and it is the worst indoctrination ever across anything platform. And I think that, in my opinion, I go out and I watch people all the time. Everybody is addicted to their phone, and the stuff that they're watching is garbage, absolute garbage. And I talk to my kids about it all the time. If you're going to watch something in its entirety, please do research in the opposite direction and find out another form of what you've seen, because I'm telling you, it's bad. It is really, really bad.
Well, I agree with the critical thinking. I don't think that's even being taught anymore, right? Like if COVID taught us anything, it's that the general population does not participate in critical thinking at all. They just believe that you could put a mask on your face and breathe better, right? Like that was
right.
In your car by yourself, that was still safer. Like they thought, well, as long I'll touch every item that they're touching at the grocery store, but as long as there's a plexiglass when I'm standing in front of them, like this.
And the arrows. If you go one way down the aisle, COVID can't catch you. But if you go the wrong way down the aisle, COVID's going to get you.
And then those of us that would go in the store and refuse to wear a mask and would purposely, even if I was going down that aisle way,
I'd smile. I go, hi.
This way. I'm going in the other way, man.
Oh yeah. And screw your arrows, man.
Exactly.
But
how many people blindly followed?
Yeah. But what the devil uses for his tactics, for his war, to wage war against our babies with that phone, you're absolutely right. That should be the number one thing every parent is concerned about, because the devil's using the communication, using the psyop, and getting into their young brains. It's a big, big problem. And then we've got these people with the dopamine hits all day long. Adults would rather sit and doom scroll than have a conversation with another human being. People go, for $1 million, would you live in a cabin without internet? And I'm like, I would. Can I pay for it? What are you even talking about? I'd pay for that. Yes. Like all day long, sister, I'll sit and read a book. I love to be disconnected. But at the end of the day, what I say and why I do the podcast and why I do the work in the media space as passionately as I do is because I'm going to use what he gave me to put good. Where he's putting the negative and the evil and the bad, we're here to just put out good. So I'm going to use the same platforms. I hate social media, but I'm on it all day long for my clients because they're the warriors that are trying to save this country. And if I don't get our content in front of the devil's content, we don't win. And that's why Soros puts all his money into communications, digital media, and those horrible videos that your kids are watching. The Democrats, I'm sorry, the crazy Democrats, they put so much money into making sure they're in front of the messaging. If we as the good guys, the Republican Party, or anyone who's trying to fight for the Constitution does not learn how important messaging is and get in the room, you cannot bring a knife to a gunfight. It's very important to make sure you get your message out there and use what he's doing for bad, but turn it into good.
Well, and I think I was just going to say, I think you make a really important point because not only is it a lot of slop and divisive information, very, very polarizing information, but having an information device that moves as quickly as all drama and problems in the rest of the world directly to our phones gives us in our, ancient design, the perception that the threat that we are very close to that threat, right? And that's why people have so many opinions on these really big, high level issues that we can't actually affect or impact in any way, shape, or form, is because it quite literally feels close. It's always in our hand. And just like you mentioned, though, with the mask, and I know so many people that didn't believe in masks. They ripped it off as soon as they went out of the store, but they just didn't want the conflict that day. They just didn't want the fight.
Mm-hmm.
So they would put it on for just a quick run into the store, because the truth is that making local change is uncomfortable. Making local change is where you sleep at night. It's where you're raising your family. It's where you go to school, go to church. And so, I just want to emphasize that I see and understand, I feel that pain and that challenge and that conflict internally, the feeling of responsibility to do it and the fear not to.
I understand it. I can't empathize with it, right? Like,
Right.
so
Charity's been a gangster her whole life. Charity was like back in the 90s, and they said I had to wear a seatbelt. I was like, excuse me, this is the free world. I can choose to wear a seatbelt. Like, so that's how low level Charity is. She's like, if I don't want to wear a seatbelt, I won't. Okay. And then when 9/11 hit, she's like, what, a baby? And she's like, oh, that don't smell right.
That's true. 9/11's when I woke up, right? But true, guys, the seatbelt, I want you to think about how that got us conditioned to control. Right.
Yeah.
Back then, I was like, this is not okay. As an adult, I should be allowed to decide whether or not I'm wearing a seatbelt. You're so funny, Andrea. So, but I never know. The mask, I did not. The only time I wore a mask was on the plane and going through TSA, and not in the airport. And that was only to go to a freedom conference to set other people free across the country when we were meeting. And that was it. I did not play. I drove an hour to a doctor that didn't play those games, because I wasn't going to go down the street to the idiot that was going to have the picture with all the nurses masked up behind you. So they would encourage you to follow a stupid narrative that makes your kids not able to breathe. That's I do want to talk about the phone for a second, though, because you're talking about this, and you guys, they have proven, Laura Logan has really looked into this, and Liz Crokin has as well. But your cameras on the phone are looking at the age of who's looking at it, and that is going to determine a lot of what's in front of them with reels and or commercials. And so, and there are predators online, right, that are looking for that. And so I use RPACT. We've tried several different like parental control apps, and I need to call RPACT and tell them I need affiliates, because I send people there all the time, and I get nothing on this. To them, I'm just a customer. I have a 22-year-old that threatened to sue me when he turned 18 because I had RPACT on his phone. I did it until he was 17, and then I took it off because I think, like, I'm trying to ready him for the real world, and I'm going to have to release him into the wild. And so at some point you have to help them navigate the choices and not really control them. But like, I've got an 8 and 10-year-old, and I'm totally still into the controlling and using. Everybody's like, you're putting them in a bubble. I'm like, exactly. You protect their innocence, and then when they're mature enough to handle the craziness of the world, they're going to have this emotional stability to be able to handle it, right? And so,
and know right from wrong.
Thank you. But on RPACT, not only does it allow you to do the time limits, it lets you decide on the apps. It lets you decide, like, a time limit on each ad, a time limit total, a time that they're available. Like, my kids can never get on after 8 o'clock at night. But then it also shows you a screenshot of what they're looking at every 5 minutes. And if you want to go in between that 5 minutes and push the button, you can see what is on their screen right then. And so it is a beautiful way to protect your kids. That is the only app I've seen that does that. You're right, it totally infringes on their privacy. And as I told my kids, you do not get privacy until you are a grown-up. I knock before I come in your bedroom. That you get that level of privacy, right? Unless I think you're smoking weed or something, then I'm not knocking, and you're just going to deal with me, right? Like, there's a level of the parental control that we should have over our children. We should not allow them to take this away. The government is not the parent. The parent is the parent, and they need to be in their lane, and we need to be in our lane. And
there weren't even doors in my house growing up. I couldn't even shut a door.
Oh, I remember.
If I shut a door, my mom would kick it open and be like, this stays open.
Yeah. So my 22-year-old was laughing about this. He slammed a door one time when he was mad and locked it. And so I took the door off. I undid the hinges, and he lost the door for a week. And I'm like, now you're going to get this door back. And I put a blanket and stuff there for him so we can still have privacy. But I'm like, if you want the privilege of a door, you will not slam it and you will not lock it. I mean, if you want to lock it to get dressed, that's different. But you were throwing a temper tantrum, and that's how you get a Democrat, right? We're not going to do tantrums. So, like,
I've taken off doors too, and I was like, go to the bathroom and change, because you're not getting the blanket, you're not getting a curtain, you're not getting a door. So you can go to the bathroom and change.
Well,
I'm not playing with you.
I grab my kids' phones all the time and look at everything that's going on, right? I'll go through, and they're like, "That's my phone." I'm like, "No, it's actually my phone. It's actually my phone. This is my phone."
But it's about protection. I know that my kids aren't doing anything. I have great kids. I've never thought that they were up to something. It's the other people that they're in contact with. And so our pact will give you that real-time screenshot every 5 minutes. You can just look and you can go through the day and see what they were up to. And anyway, it is invasive, but that's the level that we're at to protect our kids. I'm just going to throw it out there. And I'm calling our pact this week and saying, you should give me an affiliate code because I sell.
Yes, you should.
This level.
Yeah.
Anyway, you guys, any other last words before we leave? I've enjoyed the conversation today.
You know, there's a reason why China's not letting their kids on this.
Yeah.
That's true.
There's a reason why. And I think that looking at some of the stuff that they do and some of the stuff we allow our kids to do, like, they're going to have the most intellectual, brilliant humans, because we have took a step back and we're like, oh, well, we want our kids to have the latest iPhone, and we're more about materialistic things than they are. And so I really feel like, man, we're doing a great disservice to our kids and our next generations.
It's really important that it's we don't let it be a babysitter, and I think the parental controls are really important. My kids can only put on for an hour and a half a day, and then it shuts off, and they can pick it within the time frames I've selected. Guys, that's really, really important because my husband grew up in a home that didn't even allow TV, right? And I can't imagine that, but they didn't even have a TV. And he would go to his friend's house that would need directions to put the Lego stuff together. And my husband would be like, I don't understand why you can't just creatively do that. And so I'm just saying, like, there's a level of where we're really dumbing down our kids. We're doing them a disservice if we allow too much screen time. Really. Yep. I mean,
and it's not just kids. We talked about it on last week's show too. It's adults too. The dopamine kick that adults are getting. We're seeing young people of all ages. They're not engaging with human connection. They're like you said, they're going after the family unit. Well, people aren't even dating, and they're not. I mean, even I know sex is kind of a little bit more controversial, but people aren't connecting with people. Even having sex is way down because people are just doing this. So we're not having babies. We're not making babies. We're not building families, and it's rewiring all of our brains.
I've got a daughter that's 23, and she's absolutely gorgeous, just knock dead, stunning. And I'm not just being partial, but she is beautiful. And she's like, Mom, I can't meet a guy. And she was like, but she goes to church. There's no boys in church. That's her age. And I was like, well, have you tried, like, you're going to have to do something different to meet people. Like, you're going to have to maybe go visit another church or go do something. I said, but staying in your phone all the time, looking for somebody, you're not going to find somebody. You're going to find some idiot,
Right. And there's a plethora of those to choose from.
Right.
Like, a real man, that's the needle in the haystack. And we're going to get started on another topic. We don't make men anymore, right? There's a lot of boys.
I miss men.
They don't make women. How many women do you see? The younger ones that don't cook. I'm like, what do you mean you don't cook? I watched a video the other day. This lady threw frozen meatballs in an air fryer, dumped in some pasta sauce, and then she laid aluminum foil out, dumped all this raw pasta on aluminum foil, threw the meatballs down, dumped the sauce from the jar on top, and gave her children plasticware. And they all ate off of it together, and I almost vomited. Like, this cooking?
Andrew's reaction to this is more fun than the example than the story itself was.
That's so funny to me. Good Lord, it's the truth. We're living it upside down. But Tom and I, we have the Mama Make America Masculine Again. We do shows all the time about where have the men gone and how
we want the toxic
systematically.
masculinity, please bring that back. That is.
But I mean, but they chemically have castrated men too,
Yeah.
because the estrogen in the water. You see young men today, they don't look like men. You could have a young man walking in front of you and you think it's a woman. They turn around, you're like, oh my God, that's a man. It's because there's no testosterone. Young men's testosterone is. Anyway, we could go on and on and on and on. But
people don't believe that. That's exactly what's
never
happened. They
coming
don't
back
believe
on
it.
this show. I am so sorry. She's like, what am I doing? No, I'm teasing.
No, I'm just listening, right? Because I think that the thing to pull people off of the phones, the people to get people in front of other people, right, is to find a reason, right? We all want to be important. We all want to have a level of influence. We all want to be heard or seen. And it's easiest to do that with the thing that's that we're constantly hauling around, but it's not real. Like over 60% of social media engagement are bots. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So what I would say, even in just getting involved, whether you come to the summit or not, start going to your local city council meetings, county commissioner meetings.
Amen.
Keep going to meetings until you find an issue compelling enough to show up for, even when you're tired, even when you don't have the energy, right? Like you are like, oh my gosh, I really need to close this loop on that question, right? So keep looking for the issue that lights you up. I call it your hill to die on, right? And through that obsession and through that passion and that interest, you will find other people, particularly other men and women that are values aligned, that may have a different obsession than you, but they know what it's like to fight for something that means something beyond themselves.
Amen.
So I just wanted to throw that out there. And I hope that I see all three of you ladies as part of the summit, and all of your followers as well. If you have any
and what's the date on that again? When does it happen?
Sure. So the kickoff is actually this Flag Day. So this Sunday, we're doing a Flag Day pre-summit kickoff party live. And then it'll be the 15th through the 21st.
Okay.
So again, a few days will be live for 24 hours each day. And I hope to see you.
And you're going to learn that there's many hills to die on. If you don't have a hill, you give me a call. I'll give you a dozen.
We'll give you a hill. Let's start with the toxic masculinity. We want sexy men back in society, please. This is sad. I've got girls growing up that need men. We've got enough boys. Grow up.
I got two boys. I'm trying. I'm working on that. They're gonna be good. They're gonna be good.
I told somebody the other day. I said, what you guys don't understand is I said, if let's just say China tries to infiltrate us, and now we have a generation of people that want to go look for a safe space and eat a Tide Pod because they don't want to fight a war.
And that's why the mama bears. That's why we
civil war, guys. The conservatives will win, right? That's easy. There's no men
But it's gonna be the mama bears. Charity's got a pistol on her hip all the time, and so do I. They call me Sarah Connor. I like guns and jeeps, and I'm
always carrying.
And so
I put money
if there's a civil war, it's gonna be us. It's gonna be the mama bears in the front, and the guys are gonna be hiding in the back, crying, scared.
No, hold on. My husband will be in the front.
Your husband will be there.
We have a JJ Humphreys that will be out there.
Yeah, JJ Humphreys will be there.
They're just needles in a haystack. Anyway, you guys, we're going to keep going. We better stop. We're going to get in trouble. We already are in trouble. We will see you guys next week. I'm excited about next week to go. You guys keep fighting for the country. Join the Freedom Brigades. 4 hours a month of your time, and you can take back your community, and we can take back the republic. Thank you.
God bless y'all.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.